many consistent games on that champion, but the last Whisper came far, far too late. They had no answer to the three-man frontline of King and Whoosh. The Ren sets, they were real.
Yeah, they just set so much up for that late game Kalista and just had a great early game. The swap worked out perfectly and pretty much EP could never break the front line that King had built here. So we get back into the draft and EP already adjusting. We have a Rek'Sai ban and a Kalista ban as their first two and another Gnar ban there for King.
I mean, you need a hyper carry to work with all those tanks. You needed a big damage AD carry. Kalista's probably the most viable of all the options available, has a lot of mobility as well, was diving in and out of Assassin's massive frame in the Cho'Gath. So, I mean, banning away the Kalista stops them from running quite the same strong frontline hyper carry lineup, but I'm sure King have many more strings to their bow.
Yeah, and EP as well, potentially, as the Victor gets another ban there, EP another Ahri ban, so a lot of the same stuff here with the Kalista
But on
ban.
the blue side, though, Peishan, Raphael plays an excellent Ahri, and on patch 5.4, the nerfs have come through, but they're just small adjustments in power. Still a very powerful blind pick mid lane champion. Still has a 12.67, KDA on that Ahri over 2 games. Not sure why they're banning Ahri on the blue side.
Well, I guess we'll have to see. They might have some sort of plan, but Annie, again, another respect man towards Shu, who really does favor those engaged supports. And to be honest, I wouldn't be too surprised to see a first pick Thresh here.
Yeah, Hecarim's available. They're actually pondering a Lee Sin pickup. I mean, Drizzle's Lee Sin's very powerful. I don't know. MLXG does like the Lee Sin as well, so maybe I can understand the pickup. But no, it's going to be the blind pick LeBlanc again. You have to think. Cho'Gath's still available. No reason not to run that lane again.
Yeah, I mean, even if they can't build around another carry, they can probably find damage somewhere else. But Raphael clearly just wanting this pick here, but a bit weird to pick it so early in the draft, especially because Assassin, he does play it, but I'm sure Raphael has at least one other champion he can play, but maybe with a 0 and 0 sort of rotating out and Victor being banned, he feels a little bit confined.
But I mean, Lulu, Cho'Gath both have been shown to be wave clear champions that can deal just fine with the Blanc. And look, maybe it's unfair to criticize Raphael. Remember, he was 8-1 and 3. He did do very well on that champion. And there were other issues that were more pressing for EP to deal with. So the first pick, LeBlanc, no obvious counter picks to play against it apart from those wave clear champions. So probably smart to lock it in.
Yeah, King going to keep their draft exactly the same, I believe, from the first game here. And going to lock in Thresh and Rengar again for support and jungle.
They got a lot of purchase out of specifically the Thrill of the Hunt. The first one blowing Kane's flash and then picking up a kill with the second Thrill of the Hunt. So that's just fine. And I mean, the Lee Sin, it's taken again. I believe moving 80 carries. No Graves this time. Mixing it up with the Corki.
Yeah, we got Lee Sin and the Corki, like you mentioned there. So I do like Corki, a bit more of a well-rounded choice. Very safe, very standard. You kind of run it into anything and feel good. Graves is the more aggressive choice here, but I feel like Corki's just a bit more rounded and scales slightly better into the late game, especially because you have a reposition option that's so strong here. But Assassin going to do it again, going to take the exact same matchup there with the mid Cho'Gath here, and this time Whoosh might take the Graves.
So 3 mid Cho'Gaths in the LPL so far. Ninja did not find success, but 2-0 today with mid Cho'Gath. Going to try and repeat the matchup. We can notice that it gives a lot of room for LeBlanc to roam the map. Of course, the pushing will come through. Cho'Gath has a lot of wave clear. But Raphael found a lot of kills in the previous game. He might be able to repeat that, but the front line, it's already looking pretty scary.
Yeah, I don't know what Whoosh is going to play here, but he's going to need some sort of high damage carrying. Kalista is banned here, so King again setting up for a massive front line. I believe these are the exact same picks they played in the last draft, so Whoosh will have to play a different carry, but the same comp here again.
It's going to be Cho'Gath. Cho'Gath. It's going to be Jinx. That's my guess. It's going to be Jinx or Kog'Maw. I mean, it's not going to be a Juggernaut comp, but you can still go protect the Kog'Maw. You have Thresh for a bit of repositioning, but my first guess is going to be Jinx.
Yeah, make a lot of sense here. Is EP going to take, I guess, someone to help dive that carry that they know is coming here? They do have the Janna as sort of an interesting pickup against the Corki. A bit more of a passive choice, with the Corki, but I do like the Aurelia here a lot. Pretty safe in the matchup here against Makai, if not slightly favored, and that's someone that can dive onto whatever carry Whoosh picks.
So, I mean, Lucian's another consideration. Didn't even think about that, but has a very favorable matchup against Corki. Graves is fine. It's not necessarily high damage. They keep hovering Varus, which I know makes you excited. I feel like Varus, maybe 5.5, will catapult him into relevancy, but Graves just going for a little laning power. Lane's fine against the Corki. I probably would prefer the Lucian just for a little bit more of a mid-game power spike, and a late game with 3-4 items fares better than Graves does, but Graves still lock in. Very similar champion to Lucian. Will probably do just fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that the nice thing about Kalista was that she was high damage in short range, but very mobile, so could kind of just hop behind her tanks using her passive and get a lot of damage spread out. And Graves, in some ways, with the quick draw resets, can do the same thing. Lucian probably a bit better at it, but you still want a good damage carry, but you want to set up for a short range carry rather than necessarily, you know, protect a big long range carry like a Jinx or a Kog'Maw.
I mean, with the Aurelia locked in, you have to go something with a bit of mobility. You know, if you go for Jinx, Aurelia can get on top of that carry. The one thing you can say about Graves is that if everything goes bad, it's only Aurelia for frontline, so you could just go, say, Bloodthirster, Last Whisper, just double down on collateral damage, and just go for the AoE damage in fights and not be an auto-attack carry. You do have that flexibility. It's not a very tanky lineup coming through from EP. So at least with the Graves, at minimum, you'll always have respectable burst in a fight.
Yeah, I mean, we already looked at Assassin's AoE in the last game as well. Could see some crazy wombo combo AoE damage between the Graves and the Scream plus the Rupture there. So again, that's our lane here. This is a very standard lane, it feels like, at this point, Graves versus Corki. And the John is interesting to me, but I guess they just wanted a tool just to, I don't know, maybe try and disengage some of the very big tanks diving onto their backline.
Yeah, Janna Corki, not a lot of laning synergy coming through, but again, having the Janna, maybe it'll be a defensive option for LeBlanc. We always used to talk about the Zed Janna synergy, but I think we're going to jump into game.
Yeah, let's get straight into it. EP versus King. And we're on to the Rift here for our last game of the evening. King are up a game here, trying to get the full 3 points and take back the 8th spot here to keep themselves in playoff contention away from Royal and EP. Trying to play, I don't know, Dream Killer once again here. And Drizzle might have found himself caught out. Liam not going to line up a hook though, and Drizzle will just keep walking. There's the hook though, will finally land in. The damage going to come in, and that immediately forces the flash.
Flashes out the Rupture. If they had been able to chain that CC, probably would have been first blood, even though it was so close to his turret. Onto Drizzle. Drizzle's able to get away, only uses his flash, so maybe we'll have to be a bit more defensive in his early pathing. I'd like to see King try and just really pressure his jungle, get some aggressive wards down, maybe even look for a buff steal, because a no-flash Lee Sin's going to struggle to just have any sort of jungle control in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, and so much of EP's good games have come from Drizzle's early Lee Sin pressure, so a little bit of that potentially shut down here as well after that start, but Drizzle going to come back here, start his own jungle. Looks like he's going to be on the red side.
He has a lot of friends on this side of the map, so understandably he's going to start in the bottom side of the map. Rengar and MLXG going to be just happy to start on the top, so very standard lanings. Looks like we're going to end up with 2v2, 1v1 matchups, and in our last game of the series, can Raphael overtake this game and actually propel his team to a carry? 8-1 and 3, but his score didn't matter in the previous series because, again, King's frontline was so strong. Their frontline is strong again, and you have to wonder, how is Kane going to tank past in front of a Cho'Gath, Rengar, and Maokai?
I don't know. We kind of saw that before where Kane just couldn't get it done on the Graves here. Corki, a little bit more damage, kind of moving into the late game, but still much more of a mid-game carry like Graves. So I don't know how much damage he can get done against the super tanks here, but you know what? Maybe King don't get to that point this game.
I mean, I would say that Corki does a bit more damage to the backline because he has longer range spells in the late game, but you know, he doesn't have a attack speed modifier. He doesn't have the quick draw. Can't necessarily choose to go aggressive with that ability. Doesn't have a lot of steroids. That's kind of the issue with Corki. He has the 10% true damage on his passive, but MLXG, he's going for it.
Yeah, he's going to actually pay a visit there, knowing that there's no flash, and Drizzle going to get caught out here. The red buff Rengar, such a problem here. The flash fall for the red buff apply, but a great ward up here in MLXG. Doesn't have any follow-up, it seems like right now. The bowler will land here. Needs to be in range for one more Q and can't quite get there. Raphael going to chase him, but Assassin's here as well, and there's nowhere to go. Rengar gets the first blood, and Raphael actually going to get slowed down. A good distort back here, but King, can they line up a little bit more CC? Assassin looking for it, can't get it done, but first blood goes to Rengar.
The flat cooldown means he doesn't have the Rupture available again. Very smart pathing from LXG. I thought it might be the attempt at the 3 buffs, but picking up their kills oh so much more sweet. And Drizzle, they knew his flash was down, and they preyed upon him. Excellent early rotation from King, and they're continuing the pressure up top.
Yeah, good jump there as well. A great slow there by Sky, and so much damage early on by this Rengar. MLXG with the double buffs. Remember, he did get the first blood onto Lee Sin. He is doing work at level 2 nonetheless.
And Amazing J didn't want to flash because he knew that Sky hadn't skilled up the Twisted Advance yet, so tried to hold on to that cooldown, but was forced out in the end. And as you mentioned, MLXG, he's defying the amount of levels he has. He has so much CC from level 2 once he has the empowered bowler available. and doing so much work across the map. Very reminiscent of Clear Love in the early series, at least in terms of his 4-minute pressure.
Nice move here from Drizzle, who will actually steal away the blue buff. So it's going to be ahead in buffs after all the aggressive ganking for MLXG. So good pressure there by Rengar, but he is going to lose quite a lot of his jungle.
He's going to lose a lot of jungle. He's going to hit level 3 probably from those small minions around the blue buff. So it's not ideal, but also set behind the blue buff timer. They won't have an exact timer because he didn't kill those small minions. And so much of the experience was actually moved onto the small minions that maybe it was worth clearing them, to be honest, and getting the timer. But they don't, maybe respecting the fact that they're going to have to, in 7 minutes, maybe 6 minutes, maybe it'll be hard, 5 minutes even, will be hard to contest the blue buff, just given that Rengar will start to scale up. But he hits level 3, starts to clear those small minions. And in the bottom lane, very even trading between Kayn and Whoosh. Yeah,
nice use of the quick draw there to get out from under the phosphorus bomb. But this is a matchup that, again, we've started seeing a lot here in the LPL. And pretty even as all things go. I mean, Graves, in general, I feel like considered a slightly more aggressive AD carry. But they're both good mid-game powerhouses that like to rotate and take towers in the mid-game.
And of all champions, able to shrug off the damage coming through from the phosphorus bomb when he does hit. Of course, does have quick draw to reposition away from it, but does have the true grip passive also to have magic resist, to stand up to trades against Kayn. So many people like to skip the magic resist for a bit more attack speed, maybe even for mana regen coming through from the blues, but with the true grip passive, can do both.
Yeah, Chisel here as well, looking in for maybe another steal or just taking away a camp, but going to get a little bit of vision. Does find the Raptors here and will take them away. A good deep ward as well. We'll spot MLXG moving between that half of his jungle here, but Rengar still farming up. Drizzle doing a fine job actually keeping slightly ahead, but MLXG started off by ganking early with an early Chilling Smite as well. Have to think he wants to continue that trend.
I mean, the Chilling Smite tells you he's not interested in clearing his camps. He wants to go for the ganks. He's going to find just one small Raptor as we watch Amazing J surf around the top on that Aurelia.
Yeah, just kind of plays circles around Sky there, who wildly misses the Arcane Smash after all that jumping around, but Rengar going to find his actually a gank now, maybe potentially. Thought he was going to his Krugs, but might be towards the top side, possibly even sneaking into the lane now.
And Drizzle's also positioned around top. Looks like he's going to focus on Grump, so it won't necessarily be a 2v2. Aurelia, Amazing J has no reason to go aggressive. He'd be smart to play passively in this case.
Might try and find a Blade Surge here, but we'll have to see here as Amazing J does not have his flash, and not a bad gank split here for MLXG, who's really committing to try and get all of his laners ahead, and he's targeting Sky so far.
Yeah, we see it's very quiet, but Amazing J finally serves.
Yeah, now he's going to go in there. MLXG going to move him for the Bowler, but a great Equilibrium Strike might keep him safe. Bowler just missing there, but good damage moving in there for Sky after the ulti, and not enough damage, unfortunately. Couldn't lock him down hard enough.
Yeah, actually used too many ticks of the ultimate. Didn't have mana for another Twisted Advance. They had to disengage from the dive. And Amazing J lives, but doesn't have teleport to get back to top. And his teleport's actually, his back blue pill's actually cancelled, so we'll have to walk to top and lose a lot of minions to this turret.
Yep, zoned off there by MLXG, who's been very aggressive in the top lane, but EP rotate very quickly to the Dragon now as well. Raphael, good amount of damage there coming in onto Assassin, but Energy Pacemaker will get the first Dragon.
I mean, Assassin at the end of the day is going to be able to auto-attack these minions and get a lot of their health and even the mana back, so he's not too concerned with the harass coming through, but EP managed to, and Raphael at least manages to distract Assassin long enough for them to take out the Dragon, facilitated by all the pressure that's put onto Amazing J. He's not behind in CS that much. He's able to go under turret now, 44 to 58 CS. So the Dragon, it's a good trade for King.
Yeah, Lamb actually looking for a hook, does not find it, but Whoosh takes a massive amount of damage there by Corki. The playback there will move Shu back in towards the Thresh, but Kayn just kind of happily farming away, although behind in CS, despite the positive trades here, Whoosh able to get the better of him so far.
Very puzzling that he didn't find a time to back whatsoever, sitting on 2,000 gold. That's why the trades are going so far in Kayn's advantage. He's already shopped, he's already got a Sheen, which is the most offensive of all the options he had open to him. Sitting on so much gold, Whoosh needs to find a time to back because he just can't stay in this lane without eating significant harass.
No, I mean, maybe getting a bit greedy here as well. Actually, it's the ultimate there. So actually making very good use of that skill. Going to push the wave in, harass us down as well. I think, at this point that he really wants to try and find a way to go home.
Absolutely. He used the collateral damage just to hope that Kayn would have to renege on all the pressure. Whoosh wants to go back, pick up a BF sword, work towards either the Bloodthirster or the Infinity Edge as the first pickup. But Kayn doesn't necessarily have sustain coming through from his support Janna, but the topping off will allow him to stay in lane quite happily.
Yeah, Shu pretty aggressively using the shield there as well to help Kayn go aggressive and win some of these trades. And They're still not going back here. The King bottom lane staying very hard in the bottom side of the map. And a little bit greedy, you have to think, as far as CS goes, as another quick draw effectively trades for a phosphorus bomb. But going to clear this out, take the lantern just in time, and now it's time to go shopping.
The Cloud follows through the lantern, but definitely not enough slow to be able to shop down Woosh. He shops on 2,300 gold, working towards the BS sword. Speaking of greed, double Catalyst is completed on King's side on both the solo lane as Assassin and Sky. Be interested to track whether we see double Rod of Ages come through. It's been a while since we've seen a Rod of Ages Maokai, just because the Righteous Goal has been needed, but all the CC's hitting on Raphael. Does he have the damage to finish off Cho'Gath?
Ignite down as well, but a good start to in. Raphael dives in, but a great flash out from under the distortion damage will keep him safe. MLXG bowlers up the Mimic, and Raphael gets out.
I mean, at the end of the day, he wasn't able to close distance on the other LeBlanc. So it's either 25 gold or a great deal more if he killed the real one, and he'll just have to take the 25 gold bounty.
Not a bad deal there, as Assassin has to be quite careful actually now, despite the passive on the Cho'Gath, because he will go down quite quickly. Drizzle even fishing in the mid there as well for a gank, but does not find it. And I think you're right. I think we'll see double Rod of Ages, and expected now that we have had standard-leds, Maokai going to actually get to do the snowball build that I feel like we haven't seen in quite a number of games. Liam actually caught out now as well, going to get chunked down very hard there. A good heal there is maybe going to keep him safe, and Woosh actually will move in there as he gets the kill onto Drizzle. Raphael forced away there as well, and a great rotation by King.
The flash comes through from Zhu, so flashes away. Didn't even have to use collateral damage, and Liam lives. Significant advantage for King, but no dragon to pick up to answer the first dragon completed on EP. I'm not going to say 100% is going to be Rod of Ages from Sky, just because they're against a Corki and a LeBlanc. A lot of mid-game power coming through from picks, so maybe a Righteous Glory just to answer that mid-game power is the smarter build. But double Rod of Ages, if they get through this early laning phase, they're going to be very happy.
And Assassin, interestingly, getting quite low, but he wasn't in the mid lane. He actually took the blue buff away using the Feast there as well. MLXG covering for him as Cho'Gath goes back home, and I wonder where he wants to go. Going to get some boots, it seems. I pick up a few potions and not quite direct towards the Rod of Ages yet.
I mean, look at the CS advantage for Raphael in the mid lane. This wasn't the case in the previous game, but 30 CS advantage. Actually backed on 760 gold, so couldn't even pick up a blasting one towards the Rod of Ages. Very awkward buy timing coming in from Assassin. And look, with a second shot at this mid lane matchup, Raphael very far ahead.
I mean, he was far ahead at a later stage of this game when he kind of leveled up the W, was able to clear out well, and actually did get out of Assassin, but this is even earlier, so very impressive so far by Raphael. And now the thing is, he didn't get to leave his lane that much in the last game. Morellonomicon's just been completed now as well. He's probably not getting a kill on Assassin, so which lane can he affect now?
And that's the question. He needs a bit of relief in terms of mid lane pushing, because even though he doesn't have a lot of AP, the base damages on Cho'Gath's spells is very high, so he is going to be able to put pressure on the mid lane. I mean, bottom lane seems like the obvious target. Graves has been overextended for a lot of the laning phase, so it makes sense to try and make his way down bottom. But the roam is on. I imagine some wards will be on, happening around Dragon, with Dragon 1 minute away from spawning. And Raphael, it's got the Morellonomicon. He has a lot of power very early. In terms of shops, you have to like EP for the next Dragon. But Graves is sitting on 1280 gold. It's getting close to the Infinity Edge, I believe about 300 gold away from being able to complete that item.
Yeah, not quite there yet, though, despite the CS lead that he's had against Kane this entire laning phase long here. Assassin going to continue pushing. Actually eats a E there, but there's too many minions there, and Assassin, again, very tanky on the Cho'Gath.
So the ping has come down to throw the hunt. It's been popped. I believe they expect this coming through, so it should not be successful gank in the bot lane.
Gonna find Kane, they look for a great ball there, find him, a great hook lands in there as well, and Shu can't disengage, so double play back the box there as well, and Woosh cleans him out with the ultimate there. Shu gonna go down there as well for the double, and very well played by King.
So I actually saw a blue ping onto exactly Rengar's position, so maybe it was just a predictive ping, but it was prophetic if he was. They pick up the double kill just before Dragon spawns. Sometimes it all lines up, pastry
Yeah,
time.
the Rengar mechanics very strong, able to get the bowler despite the Valkyrie that Corki completed, but got snared at the end of it, and then a crazy flash hook by Liam, and Jana just couldn't block it. I mean, to be fair, if she had, they might have both died anyway.
So, and they both died, as you mentioned. So it would have been nice if she caught it. Perhaps they would have had a chance to live, but definitely a death sentence condemns it. Bad pun intended with Liam on Thresh. And the battling starts up top as the second dragon, I believe, comes down for EP. Sorry, no, it's just the first one for King.
Yeah, one apiece now as well. So King do pick up the second there. And as you mentioned, Amazing J actually fighting there. Looks like he has to go spend some money back there from the Aurelia. As Marco's actually pretty significantly ahead in the lane, which is quite interesting.
I mean, there's
Raphael and his Lamarcus specialists, we do pop back into the game. Could make anything happen here. King, an early lead here just to catch you back. Almost 14 minutes into this game. A dragon apiece as well. And we're kind of moving into a very crucial part, actually, as both teams are approaching the mid-game.
I feel like I'm rediscovering this game looking at the items, considering what's happened after the pause being almost twice as long as the actual game length had been. We're waiting for the power spikes to come through from EP. They're close to Trinity Forces. In fact, Aurelia's just freshly shocked. Used her teleport though, so won't have teleport available for Dragon. That's a bit awkward given they could have had double Trinity Force, Morellonomicon, maybe even more AP, already 1,000 gold stacking on Raphael coming through. EP could have been in a massive power spike with all those Trinity Force being complete. They still might be, but it's going to require Aurelia to wander down. In fact, she's already going on a merry roam herself.
Yeah, magical journey in some senses. There's Amazing J will make his way down and then pop back in towards the top lane. Dragon not up yet, so not too interested in getting down there just this second. But as you mentioned, no teleport available, so has to be a little bit careful.
Speaking of careful, you have to respect how strong this Graves is, and to an extent, how strong Raphael is. If you ever use either of your spells as Cho'Gath for wave clear, it's inviting LeBlanc to go in and look for an assassination. It's going to be difficult, and with level 11 being pinged, going to get a lot more effective health, basically like a mini wild growth in terms of extra health coming through. Hell, he's even getting larger model size, so really a lot like wild growth.
Yeah.
Permanent.
Yes, a permanent wild growth here is MLXG. There's a couple of bowlers into Kane and cancels the recall, but King just kind of trying to get a little bit more vision around the Dragon area, but no gank forthcoming. Everyone's probably waking back up here, so Rengar trying to help out by throwing bowlers into Corki's jet engines, but no gank forthcoming, just a dead Scuttle Crab.
It's a Trinity Force. It's a power spike, I believe.
It is, it's come through for Corki.
We already mentioned that Trinity Force versus Infinity Edge kind of RNG based as to which one's the better pick. If you get double crit, you're feeling pretty good if you're Woosh. He's actually over-leveled. He's level 9 to 8. If you face check a Buckshot, you're going to have a bad time. So Woosh is going to be perfectly happy instead of 2v2 in terms of 2v2 stats. Kane, especially with the Trinity Force, wants to be rotating and picking up turrets, but can't do that when everyone's still enjoying the laning phase.
Yeah, and there's a pretty long laning phase as well. I think much longer than the game 1-1 here. And Woosh kind of had the same thing in the last game where they got into the lane swap. He just farmed up on Kalista and kind of took over the game with 1.5 items when he had to leave the lane. And sort of a similar thing. He's 25 CS ahead here. He's got his Infinity Edge. He's continuing to pressure in his bottom side without really a care in the world. And Woosh seems to love playing in the extended laning phase. He CSs very well.
And everyone seems to just abandon Bloodthirsty Graves overnight and gone for the Infinity Edge. Of course, a lot more focused damage. Completely understand what Uzi was doing. He's not interested in any Bloodthirster rotations as Uzi. But we're going to see the gank up top. Sky is tanky. Don't think he's going to be tanky enough.
Yeah, Jizzle getting kicked back there. The Arcane Smash coming in, but Raphael going to roam in to clean up the kill and does get it. So a very worthwhile roam is down the bottom. Rengar jumps onto Corki, and that kill's going to MLXG.
And this should potentially be the first turret of the game. No Dragon respawn timer just yet, so Dragon's still quite a long way away. Do they want to extend the laning phase, or do they want to take down this turret? Looks like they want to go for the gold right now, kind of minimize the struggle that Kane's been on this laning phase, and just end it early.
Yep, they'll take the gold here from the turret, as MLXG will get extracted out of the jungle here with the Lantern. Does get the Krug and then gets out. Red buff now actually the next one to jump on. So a good bit of counter juggling coming in for King. Actually, very efficient team play there by the Thresh and the Rengar.
Yeah, and Assassin just kind of mousing towards the bottom, just trying to relieve pressure from all the invades going on from King. In fact, MLXG was considering going for another exit kill on the roaming Janna. They answer turrets, but a red buff versus just a Gromp steal, I definitely give the advantage to King.
Yeah, especially after they both traded turrets there as well. So outer turret in the top down there is EP take that one, and Woosh takes the bottom turret there as well. We'll return with Corki's Trinity Force down towards that lane, but Azeel done now. Pots to Berserker Greaves coming through for Graves. So lots of power right now, and Dragon back in a minute 35. We have one Motivators here for Assassin, but not the second. You were right, Sky just going for tank stats.
Look, it makes a lot of sense. You've got to respect Corki and LeBlanc's mid-game, so no point opting into a late-game situation when realistically you get similar levels of power, but obviously a lot much quicker, as Assassin is able to ride the Lantern. Takes a nice burst of damage, but with that much health, doesn't really notice it.
Yeah, gets forced off as I was trying to clear out a pink horde actually, so could not get that done here. MLXG continuing to farm. A Sky dives in onto Amazing J and just pokes back there, but Amazing J, Trinity Force done here, plenty of levels in his Aurelia. Not too afraid of a Maokai at this point.
Both teleports available, but double Trinity Force and the Blasting Wand on top of the Morellonomicon suggests on paper that EP are in a power spike compared to King. Of course, the Rod of Age is just starting to be ticking up. I believe a couple of minutes in. Still plenty to go on that. Dragon's going to come in up in 45 seconds. All teleports available. Will we finally see the first big fight of the game?
We'll have to see here. Trinity Force is done, like you mentioned. And Woosh very strong as well in this Grave. So a lot going on here in this next fight. Pretty crucial, actually, because the first team to get it will, of course, be ahead on Dragons there with having 2 and up in 25 seconds. Baron up for the first time in a minute 10. The games have been, I have to say, pretty slow between these two teams. They've had long laning phases. I mean, all pauses aside.
I mean, it's a 40-minute game if you include the pause-based return.
That's true. I mean, game 1 even was quite long, and King kind of ran away with it towards the end of it. I mean, again, Woosh has had long, extended laning phases that seem to really benefit him. And again, he's just still farming comfortably, continually ahead of this Corki. Almost perfectly CSing at this point. 194 at 19 minutes.
But Woosh can be instantly answered by Raphael with all the AP stack. 293 AP, misses the chains on Assassin, so has to disengage from that trade. But given how strong LeBlanc is, you have to be very careful if you're Woosh.
No, Drizzle the Dragon Stealer going back in again, but doesn't get it this time. Gets hooked instead. They're feasted on as well and is blown away by the collateral damage.
I think Amazing Jace tried to steal the red, but actually Maokai picks it up and flashes to follow Amazing J's flash, and in the mid lane, MXG has to disengage from the throw of the hunt.
Yeah, Sky actually managed to get that away. It was an attempted steal there by Amazing J, but Woosh getting aggressive, just buckshots poor John to the heel. Pop there as well. Raphael, Mimic, little low there in the mix, but Kane getting low there as well, and King are going to take another tower. Assassin going forward, doesn't find the flash because Kane splashed the hell out of there.
Yeah, Flash Rupture's got a lot of lag, got a lot of telegraphed engage, so wasn't likely to pick up the kill, but forces the counter flash. As a tanky Cho'Gath, he'll take swapping flashes with the enemy AD carry. As King start to push their advantage, turn it on, and suddenly about a 5,000 gold
Yeah,
lead.
look, Cho'Gath CC might not be all that brilliant as far as starting a fight, but it's fantastic at following up. You know, if you eat a CC and then Cho'Gath falls in with a Rupture and a Scream, it feels like you're CC'd for a whole day.
And look, I was really impressed with the build Hatong was doing. The 40% CDR Cho'Gath was doing a lot of work in fights. This is where the consistency becomes a problem. He's got 10-second cooldowns of both his Q and W. He doesn't have spell rotations in a fight. It basically has one rotation. If he misses it, doesn't really do very much. That's kind of the risk that Assassin's going on with this more heavy, but he does build some CDR to kind of work towards it, but definitely not going to be the 40% stat that we saw coming through.
Yeah, not yet.
Hatong.
Yeah, not yet. Doesn't have the Morello Nomicon built yet, sorry. But of course, did just finish the cooldown boots. Did build Morello Nomicon in the first game, and King going quite aggressive on the mid game here. I mean, we've got a Spirit Visage done for Sky, who's building pretty aggressively towards possibly a Frozen Heart, or maybe the Righteous Glory if he wants it. But MLXG really wants to initiate for his team. He's actually the one building a Righteous Glory.
Very interesting to see Righteous Glory coming from a Rengar. You'd think he'd have enough speed from the thrill of the hunt, but he's going to have so much speed. Of course, gives his ally speed as well when they're coming towards him. Just looking for the thrill of the hunt. Basically, every time that cooldown's available, you know exactly what he wants. His team's to follow him into a fight. And when you got someone like Woosh on the Graves who can just help from downtown, then get in and fight dirty in the front line, it's actually probably smart to pick up the Righteous Glory. And look at that, thrill of the hunt's been popped.
Yeah, up towards the top lane, MLXG looking for someone here for EP and Sky. And get to the bottom side right now, moving in. MLXG looking for a lead, doesn't quite find it. Bowler will just miss there. Second will miss also, and King kind of rotating awkwardly towards the top, but that tower's very low, and that's what they want to pick up next.
They want to pick up their third outer turret, have mid and bot lane. Sky pushing very aggressively into the bot lane turret. 2-level advantage, so even though he's eating a lot of poke, will be fine and healthy. Not sure if EP have enough wave clear, though. With the Aurelia ultimate, they hold on to the turret for a little while, but the third turret finally falls. 6,000 gold is the lead for King, and they're not stopping.
Yeah, MLXG actually jumping straight on top of the Gromp there, and we'll be able to take it away. Do get it there as Drizzle tried to find a steal, but a good smite from Rengar secures it. And again, the rotation's continuing. We see this a lot with Graves players just in general, especially when we see the Bloodthirster Graves from Vasily. Rotate in, take the towers, take advantage of your early game power.
And at the end of the day, the build that Woosh has completed now at 22 minutes is very comparable to the 40-minute item build that Kane had last game. This is definitely a snowball grade. 5-0-1, 40 CS up. Very strong. Actually only 400 gold away from a BF sword towards finishing that Bloodthirster. No armor stack to speak of whatsoever on EP's side. You know, we actually see magic resist coming through from Amazing J. It makes sense, only 180 damage dealer, but that's kind of the issue. When you double down on stats to deal with 4 members and then the 5th member's the one who's fed, suddenly your item builds fall apart a little bit.
Yeah, and sort of the problem whenever we see people start snowballing here. I mean, we see it a lot with double AP versus a fed AD carry, and it's a comparable, although not exactly the same situation.
Pastry time's definitely a bit weathered by this long game. Effectively 50-minute game at this point.
This is the longest 50-minute, 23-minute game.
I mean, that game with the auto attack bug was pretty long.
That was also very long. That was an actual 50-minute game.
I feel like there's like 3 people watching this game that understand this reference, but never mind.
That's fine. Hey, what, you, me, and some guy out there.
Whoever it is, tweet at us. We appreciate
We do indeed here.
your continued patronage.
It's amazing to hand Shu. You need to clear out some wards. Drizzle will do the same there, actually. Sensing that there as well. Haven't seen a lot of the trinket upgrades today, actually. That's probably one of my biggest things. Is Lane going to get caught here? Raphael will blow him up. And this is the LeBlanc. She gets picked very easily once she finds him. And Whoosh now could be in trouble. Drizzle actually getting smoked. Kubo follows in with a Q. Kicks him back up to the flash, but Whoosh was already out. And Shu coming back in. Raphael really wants the kill, but Jana already monsooned him away. And now Sky's actually in the back. He's ported in towards around the side here as well. MLXG going to dive in on top as well. Amazing Jay. Going to have to move back in. Assassin in towards the top on the choke. A little late to the party, but he'll clear out a ward instead. Double
Righteous Glory complete. I just realized that mobility that it'll give Cho'Gath in the backline to try and gap close might be helpful for King. Actually didn't use the collateral damage, did Whoosh. Of course, no members falling low enough. Raphael would have taken a large burst of damage, but probably would have lived. And in the trade, you know, a kill comes through to King, but not much else to speak of.
Corky has to back away. Bilgewater Cutlass there, plus a dagger and the Sork Shoes all done. So moving in for a Blade of the Ruin King second. Very popular Corky build.
Drizzle actually finished the Ruby Sightstone, which he must have had something better to spend 800 gold on than finishing the Ruby Sightstone.
I'm not sure. I mean, I think I see Marta do it quite a lot, but usually, you know, as maybe a third or fourth item. No. Marta obviously on support.
Yeah, but I mean, on a Lee Sin jungle, it's usually the Sightstone for mobility, then start working towards, I guess, your Randuins at this point. I mean, we kind of admonished Drizzle last game for building magic resist when he needed armor to deal with, at the time, Whoosh's Callista. Feels like he's going to need armor just as much, given how much snowball we're talking about with this Graves.
I mean, for me, when you see something like that, it's either that you have too much money or too little money. And I think in Drizzle's case, given how the game's going so far, it's probably a case of just a little poor, unfortunately, at this stage of the game.
I would have preferred double cloth page time. I'm going to be real about this.
Double cloth would have been good here, but third dragon does go to King, so they continuing to pick up advantages. Still about 5,000 gold ahead, looking for a pick, but can't quite find it. And MLXG actually has popped his ulti. Righteous Glory being off there as well. That is a lot of pick potential.
I mean, they have double Righteous Glory, but still weren't able to close the distance. MLXG, I believe, didn't have his Boots of Mobility active when he started the throw of the hunt. And just was a bit too conservative with his use of that ability. I mean, the last 3 times hasn't been able to get a strong pick. King pushing in aggressive. They're going to take this in the tower, but the fight's on.
Yeah, Amazing Days diving in. And Raphael, a massive double distortion there after the Mimic, but still too much damage coming in. The Graves actually dead, though, and Kane going to look for the follow-up. Aurelia gets a second kill. They double rupture, but it's not enough to save Assassin. The last kill goes down at 4-1 in favor of EP.
Raphael died, but it's so much AoE damage with the Mimic distortions. Unbelievable. Sitting on about 450 AP, I believe, with the blasting one on top of the Merlinomicon and Death Cap. I mean, Whoosh just completely miscalculated. Died with the collateral damage available. Couldn't even throw that out. Not that it would have made a big difference. They're rushing down this Baron, but look who's alive. It's Sky. He doesn't have a lot of mana, but he doesn't want to allow this Baron to go down too fast.
No, he's going to clear out a ward here. It's just off screen, but EP are going to be able to secure this Baron. Drizzle has his smite. Sky can't do a whole lot about it. I mean, Rengar's back, but he's too far away, and EP are going to get this Baron.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Sky probably doubled down on just being able to clear this minion wave in the mid lane. I mean, a sapling steal would have been something for the replayers, but just wasn't going to happen realistically. King, they just, a bit like us, taken aback by the instant burst damage coming through from the Mimic Distortion. Deleted in the back line was Whoosh. He's the one with all the gold. He's the one that needs to stay alive. You have to look at his kill distribution. A lot of kills on the AD carry, not a lot for everyone else.
No, and I mean, the thing is, we talk about Raphael in this game and the last game as well. He was the one that really needed to come in and do a lot of work for his team, and finally found a fight that worked for him there in that very narrow choke point. And you saw what happens. Raphael's had another great game here, 2-1-3 with 230 CS almost, with a Void Sub almost done. Had a Rabadon's very early in this game as well. He's the one that needs to get going, and he finally got going in that last fight.
And I guess we shouldn't be surprised, Sean, that a double Trinity Force, a team with a LeBlanc, did burst damage, but they absolutely did. It took me aback with how much they did to the backline especially. I mean, the Mimic Distortion doing at least 800, 1,000 damage as far as I can tell, just eyeballing it. And they need to respect the damage coming through. So King, they don't lose a lot from that trade, but a lot of global map pressure being given to EP, and they just need to be more judicious with their cooldowns. Specifically, the fact that they haven't been able to force a fight 2 times in a row with Thrill of the Hunt, double Righteous Glory. Just need to be a bit more on point with those cooldowns.
I mean, maybe the biggest difference in this game versus the last one is that Kalista didn't really have any threat that she was worried about in that last game. She had a very strong frontline that she could sit behind and just free hit from, and Wush has the same frontline here, but there's so much more dive this time on EP's side.
There is to some degree. It has to respect the Aurelia especially, but I mean, the big difference is the mobility for Graves is not the same as Kalista's. To be honest, though, if it was the same champion in that situation, probably would still have died to the burst. Just wasn't able to get a lot of auto attacks down, died to burst at the start of a fight. But it's just a different, as you mentioned, a different identity for the Graves. The Graves pick doesn't necessarily fit beautifully, but as is the case, as long as he's not getting assassinated, King should be okay.
Yeah, and Wush is doing plenty of damage. 5 1-on-1 with 3 big damage items. These are the same items that we saw Name build today in his second Jinx game, and these are the big hard carry items. If you can afford to build these 3 items as your first 3 AD carry items, things are usually going well for you.
Especially when only one member on EP is building armor, you can go the Bloodthirster, be able to position that much more aggressively because you can take a bit of extra damage with the shield, with the 23% lifesteal between the Doran Blade and the Bloodthirster. Absolutely. Not doing tremendous damage to Amazing J, but doing enough. And to everyone else, going to be doing assassin-level damage with this build.
Yeah, looking down as well, I really like the Locket that Lame has finished up here, apart from the Mikhails. Don't really need to protect the Hypercarry. MLXG dives in onto Kane, gets knocked back by the Gale there, but Kane actually Valkyries away. That was a quick flash by someone as well.
It was actually a flash just to get the
MLXG.
engage coming through from MLXG, and then disengaged, which was interesting.
Yeah, no flash traded. There's a bit awkward. Kane holds onto it, has to use his Valkyrie, but will be happy to have his other cooldown. Sky maybe moving in as well, but King forced back a little here.
King, they want to get some exit kills. I believe Rupture's available, doesn't use an EP, are able to disengage, even through double Righteous Glory.
Yeah, if Drizzle actually had to flash that time, kind of got flanked there, trying to maybe look for a line around the tower with a Q, so doesn't find it. EP will back off here, but Dragon back up in a minute here. King could look to... EP could look to pick up their second, but that would be the 4th for King if they got it.
Absolutely. 4th towards the 5th is a very important Dragon to pick up the immediate stats. It's a bit of wave clear, I believe, coming through from that, so not the biggest thing to speak of. Wave clear, probably just going to make this game longer, so that's not ideal for us casters either. But the 5th Dragon is obviously an important time. It could potentially be around the 43-minute mark, which would be a shorter game timing. And MLXG just trying to move with his team and clear up wards and just try and fight for this 4th Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, EP feel like they have all the tools to fight, though. Kane is 2.5 items. Aurelia is really big at this point as well, with an extra Giant Spot, the Frozen Heart, and the Spectre's Cal all done as well. Avoid stuff done here for Raphael. I mean, if they were ever going to pick a 5v5 team fight, this might be the Dragon to contest.
I mean, Aurelia isn't grouped with her team, so the disadvantage this gives to EP is they don't have 5 men strong to clear wards together. Sky's going to teleport back because they've already cleared wards as a 5-man group, and that's kind of the advantage. You have 5 men, you rotate, you get as much vision as possible, and now EP only really have control over this bottom area of the Dragon. They're fighting towards the rest of the Dragon, though, and it's going to be fairly even. And look, Amazing J picks up the turret. Yeah,
I mean, good bit of pressure there in the top lane of the map. Able to get the turret for himself there. Dragon now back up, so teams are going to move in to look to contest. King moving in again. Assassin once again very large on this Cho'Gath. And Raphael going to clear out some mods. MLXG pops his ulti. Kane has to be careful, but a good Tornado keeps him safe, and another wasted Rengar ulti.
I mean, he's going to try and get the bowler in. Doesn't really get any purchase out of that whatsoever. And now just kind of walks around aimlessly. You have to say, for double Righteous Glory, Thrill of the Hunt Rengar, surprisingly low amount of picks.
Yeah, I mean, MLXG had a great early game in this game. Played a great Rengar in game 1 as well. But
teleport behind. Watch out for the flank.
Yeah, they are going to move in. Aurelia looking for it. And actually, he's going to force King off here, it seems like. Kane actually now got caught up. A big Rupture there coming in as well. And now Corki forced to flash up, but MLXG is right on top of him. Corki's still alive, but now they will go down there as Sky is actually the one that gets the kill. Cho'Gath kills the block there as well. Shu going to get chased down there as the kills are just coming up. Massive here for King. 3-1 already. A hook onto Amazing J. Gonna make it 4. And that's the fight that King wanted.
The game bursts into life with a miraculous death sentence onto the AD carry coming through from Kane, even though he was able to use the Mikhail shoe. As you mentioned, the Rupture comes through with extra burst damage. King gonna answer with their 4th Dragon, so they still are able to pick up this Dragon. Didn't even appreciate they were the team that had the 3. They're going to move towards 4. Their win condition now only 6 minutes away. We're fairly early 5th Dragon, especially given the fact that EP already have a dragon on the board. But man, one skill shot makes all the difference.
Yeah, and we talked about big AoE magic damage making a difference in clumped up scenarios. It was Raphael in the fight before that, but that last fight was all Assassin's Rupture.
Definitely was, and in this case, the model size for Assassin, as he still keeps getting bigger and bigger, you can't hit line shots, skill shots behind that Cho'Gath. A lot of champions have deceptively large hitboxes with the Elixir of Iron, but Cho'Gath literally does, because of course his hitbox gets bigger. Scaling hitbox, only Zap can really rival the size that Cho'Gath has, but it just means that the chains, good luck hitting them onto this Grapes.
Yeah, we talked about it well in the last game. When Raphael dives aggressively into the backline, Assassin just uses his W. LeBlanc just starts in and just runs out of option. Assassin killed Raphael actually in that last little exchange. So the lane certainly doesn't seem great, although Cho'Gath's slightly ahead of CS now at this stage of the game. But as far as team fighting goes and stopping LeBlanc from doing what she wants to do, Cho'Gath does accomplish a lot of that.
And this is a 4 damage item whoosh. Graves is massive for 34 minutes in the game. Both the collateral damage and the consistent damage is going to be very high. And again, the Cho'Gath's starting to look good, because once you get a frontline that can't be trifled with, specifically by a LeBlanc who wants to sneak in chains, get assassinations, you just can't walk past the disruption that Assassin's putting out, let alone Sky and MLXG, who in the backline were able to assassinate the Corki.
Yeah, and King looking for maybe a Baron now as well, though EP clearing out some vision where they can, but that ward will likely go down. Sweeper does come through, and that ward will get cleared out. Sorry, King moving in aggressively towards the Baron. Do have the Scuttle Crab controlled as well. So a bit of speed in MLXG going very quickly there, but Jana again, always ready with the Tornado.
The Thrill of the Hunt is a very misleading title. Not a movie I would watch again, Pastry Time. It's 4 or 5 times in a row been completely disengaged. The Righteous Glory, you'd think be enough, both of them were popped, but still no picks.
I think they're missing a Lulu or maybe an old Siva. Because not enough speed for MLXG to catch someone. Somebody flashed away aggressively.
It was a flash, a Death Sentence attempted by Liam onto Amazing J, who now casually sidesteps the Rupture as well. Smooth moves from the Relia. Very fast move speed, of course, with the Trinity Force. No 5% move speed from the Dragon, so maybe it would have been even more beautiful if the Dragon control had been a bit more on point from EP. And King, I mean, they've got a lot of options. They can try and force the Baron. They can just kind of chill around for another 5 minutes and try and pick up the 5th Dragon. Again, everything's looking good for them. They have so much map control pressure. One thing I'll say about EP, never seen a team navigate away from the Thrill of the Hunt better than EP.
Yeah, it's done a very good job of just getting away from MLXG when he's popped the ulti. King finally make their decision, and that is to go on top of the Baron. But EP, they've got everyone alive here. They might get forced back here as the Scream does come in, but Amazing J might just go back in. The Righteous Chorus are popped again. Amazing J right in the back, but Raphael in the backline trying to get an assassination. Almost gets onto Whoosh, but he can't quite finish it. Cho'Gath gets the first kill onto Aurelia. Raphael going to be the next. A great hook lands there as well. Now Drizzle might follow in, but MLXG popped up another great double Rupture there into Kane and Shu. MLXG in the back, and that will complete almost, there it is, another ace for King.
And you'll wonder who deserves the plaudits for that fight. I'm going to surprise you and say Liam managed to exhaust a double distortion LeBlanc. So little time to be able to get the reactionary exhaustion, but actually negated the double distortion damage from a Death Cap, Morellonomicon, Void Staff, Amp Tome, Raphael. And that just made his backline live that much longer. Whoosh was on a sliver of health, literally 100 health at the end of that fight. But miraculous play from Liam. They're going to pick up this inhibitor turret. Hell, they're going to pick up the Baron as well. Everything's coming up King, and they're just going to wait for another couple of minutes, take a 5th Dragon, and then just deal with it, EP. What can you do against all the neutral buffs that King are amassing?
Yeah, the Baron minions helping there as well. Very nice fadeaway lantern there by Assassin. Just managing to get out of that. How did he even get away from that threat? That was some interactions.
I mean, don't question Cho'Gath. When you're that big, anything's possible. Got to ask you the burning question. Which is your pick of the Cho'Gath skins? It's in Loch Ness Cho'Gath twice in a row.
You know me, Papa Smithy. It's always the gentleman.
Absolutely. You need to have a bit of class in this broadcast. I appreciate it.
As Raphael clears out a pink ward now as well. And King are going to set up for their 5th Dragon, sorry, but EP trying to deny a little bit of vision.
That's EP. They're the ones that want to set up for this 5th Dragon. They're going for the gank brush. The Thrill of the Hunt's pretty good against gank brushes, and he's been using it quite liberally. But not the brush you want to face check.
Sky probably going to check it with a sapling here as well. No, throws in for the next brush. We'll see one person. This bait actually
the hunt's been
work.
activated.
Oh, he's going to pop them in.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, see everybody now. And MXG is like, oh, okay, I'll jump in. Finally finds a target there. Gets onto Gina. Raphael will lock him down a little bit here. Sky moving forward, going very aggressive, but a good Monsoon. Going to push Marco back, but Liam finds a hook onto Amazing J. The box moving in there as well. Tornado going to knock up almost everyone. And Raphael trying to get in there, but the double flame moves back. Drizzle there gets silenced as well, and Raphael can't do anything. Assassin gets the kill onto LeBlanc. There's 3 kills already for King, and that might just be enough.
Whoosh amazingly lives again. Despite them not having armor to deal with the Aurelia, the lifesteal's just enough to keep him alive. They want more exit kills. This might be the end of the game with 40-second death timers. If not, it's going to be a base in tatters for EP as Drizzle runs away as fast as his little legs will let him.
Yeah, Sky already teleporting into the base, getting aggressive. Whoosh tanking the turret, looking for the last kill. Drizzle actually will go down there as the last auto comes in, and they tank out the turrets. They're going to look to close the game, and King should be able to secure the 2-0. In fact, EP, just give it over to them.
The surrender comes through. No 5th dragon, but every other advantage claimed by King. King take it 2-0. That's Starhorn Royal Club back in 9th position, so 2 points ahead. EP, they fell so many giants in the past few weeks, but they couldn't quite do it to King.
No, and I mean, it's been a great last few weeks for EP. Still haven't picked up a lot of 2-0s. Have the one finally, I think, from a game they played last week. But as O2 is a big step back for a team that's looked so promising, and for King, a much-needed step forward.
And still, again, I don't believe mathematically eliminated from the playoffs just because, again, we play so many damn games in the LPL that there's always time if you start getting those three-pointers, the 2-0 wins. But King, they really needed that win. That was clutch play from them to pick up the 2-0, to move 2 points to the Starhorn Royal Club. We're going to be tracking Starhorn Royal Club anyway because then we're excited to see Nami. We're excited to see a team on the up. But King, first blood to them in terms of staying even or ahead of Starhorn Royal Club.
Yeah, it looks good. And, of course, that will end our day here as well. It's been a long night, but don't forget to join us tomorrow if you feel like it, and you probably should, given how great the games have been today. For myself, Papa Smith, the Atlas, and our entire very tired live production crew, we'll see you tomorrow.